Hello, people of YouTube. This is Gray's Guitars. I am Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. It's been a little over a week or so, about a week exactly since they released this article, and the guitars are already sold out. But I figured we got to do a video on the Back to the Future guitars. I love the Back to the Future movies. One of the things that got me into guitar in the first place. They came out well before I was born, but still some cool movies, nevertheless. So, celebrating the most treasured guitar seen in movie history, Gibson has launched a custom Epiphone replica and a Gibson replica of the Back to the Future ES-345. But its search for the long-lost original guitar goes on. They still have not found the original guitar. So, we don't know at this point. With the amount of news coverage and everything that's been going on about this guitar, people wanting to get information about it, although if you're not really in the guitar community per se, and you know your dad threw this under his bed, or your mom, grandpa threw it under their bed 40 years ago, and nobody really knows anything about it, then yeah, it'd be hard to do that. Maybe it ended up at a junkyard somewhere, who really knows, but we still have not found the original guitar. To celebrate the 40th anniversary of the iconic film, Gibson has launched two replicas of the Marty McFly generationally inspiring ES-345. That's a $5 word right there. With its hunt for the long-lost Back to the Future electric guitar still ongoing, Gibson has celebrated its connection to the Hollywood hit and made good on earlier teases by releasing not one but two replicas of the ES-345 that starred in the film. So fun fact, it's not actually Marty's guitar. He broke the guitarist's hands, Marvin something, I think his name was. And then he then borrowed and played the guitar. And also, it is newer than 1955, although the movie people that created the movie didn't seem to care. The guitar is actually from the future in Back to the Future, which I think is interesting. So 2025 marks the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future, which, thanks to its iconic Enchanted Under the Sea school dance scene, is firmly cemented in guitar lore. After all, when Michael J. Fox's character Marty McFly picked up a historically inaccurate yet incredibly classy ES-345 to rip Johnny B. Goode during the film's third act, it became a source of inspiration for generations of guitarists, Gibson, Mark, and Nisi included. 40 years on that performance is still probably the most beloved guitar movie moment in the history of cinema. I don't know. There's a couple I can think of. There's a couple. Tenacious D, anyone? Tenacious D? Ironically, though, one of the most watched guitars in Hollywood hasn't been seen for 4 decades. The ES-345 famously went missing once filming wrapped up on Back to the Future. It's a mystery that has spawned a concerted effort from Gibson to locate and retrieve the Back to the Future guitar, with the firm releasing various clues and hiring an investigative journalist behind the recovery of Paul McCartney's Hofner violin bass to aid the search. Unfortunately, the OG guitar is still in the wind, but that hasn't stopped Gibson from producing both a custom Gibson and custom Epiphone replica of the model. Unsurprisingly, both guitars bear all the main hallmarks of what makes the Back to the Future 345 so distinct, namely the cherry red finish, Bigsby B7 vibrato, gold hardware baritone switch, and block 12th fret inlay, on which Gibson has pinned its hopes on a actual recovery of the lost guitar at $20,000. Already sold out, by the way. They only made 88 of them, so there's 88 rich people that now have this guitar. The Gibson custom package is, of course, the closest you'll get to the real thing, with a load of case candy, equipments, and to sweeten the deal, the guitar itself, which only 88 will be made, has aged Murphy Lab and boasts a rear headstock plaque tying it to the movie. As per the Gibson custom shop, Luther's matched every unique specification of the original guitar, presumably through the achieved documents and photos, reverse engineering the 1950 appointments for even greater authenticity in the process. Standard ES specs featured, including maple or poplar maple 3-ply body, thin D-shaped mahogany neck, bow and rosewood fingerboard, which feature those split parallel ingrams, as well as a pair of custom buckers. Kluson tuners, ABR 1 no-wire bridge, as well as thumb screws for the long replaced stop bar tailpiece. Completed the package. It ships in a Marvin Berry, the Starlighters style Lifton hardshell case. That's what his name was, Marvin Berry. That's technically whose guitar it is, which comes with a certificate of authenticity, an Enchanted Under the Sea poster, and non-functioning flux capacitor. If only it was functioning. If only. We could all use that flux capacitor. The Epiphone model understandably ditches the Murphy Lab treatment, custom buckers, and case candy to bring the cost down, which is interesting because, you know, they could have definitely done an inspired by Gibson one with the Gibson headstock for this, and they chose not to. I'm assuming to cut the cost down. Still comes with a licensed Bigsby, rear headstock plaque, Veritone switch, and hardshell case. So that's the plaque on both of them. A little bit different. So it's not inspired by the Gibson custom model, meaning it doesn't feature the Gibson open book headstock. An interesting design choice from its maker, given the pitch there hangs around the visual appeal of the original prop, but it doubles down on its back-to-the-future ties with the all-important 12-thread block inlay. The Epiphone is $1,000, $999, making it the priciest non-artist and non-inspired by Gibson custom shop currently in Epiphone's books. While the search continues to find the original cherry red ES-345 used in the movie, Gibson is celebrating the most treasured guitar scene in the movie history. With the launch of limited edition Gibson custom and Epiphone guitar models, the firm writes, Gibson ES-345 electric guitar holds a special place in pop culture history, largely thanks to a memorable appearance in the 1985 film Back to the Future. In one of the movie's most iconic scenes, Michael J. Fox's character, Marty McFly, performs an electrifying rendition of Johnny B. Good at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. Although the ES-345 was introduced in 1959, so yeah, several years after the fact, the guitar fits seamlessly into the film's 1955 setting. Honestly, why couldn't they just say it was 1959? Like, I feel like they could have just done that instead. Could have just been like, oh, you know, 1959, and everybody would be none the wiser. But that's a film choice, I suppose. That's a film choice. Providing a touch of anachronistic magic. My God, I can't pronounce words. This moment not only cemented in the Gibson ES-345 legacy in cinema, but also solidified its status as a beloved icon in the world of rock and roll. Head over to Gibson to find out more. But I know they only made 88 of the Gibson Custom Shop, which are gone. We'll check that out first. I think they made 1,985 of the Epiphones. I could be wrong with that. We'll see what we got here more. Yeah, it's sold out, so, but it is just, it's pretty. They're kind of guessing at the age, because who knows what this thing, oh, that's cool. That's freaking cool. Right in the case, the old flux capacitor. Save the clock tower. Back to the Future. Under the Sea dance. You get, so just miscellaneous products here. As well, the fancy little calculator watch. So, let's see. Let's go to the specifications. 3-ply binding. Obviously, you got the nitro. Body shape. They're calling it the 335 body shape, which is interesting. I think they're the same shape, but one just has more appointments with the binding. Rosewood. Celluloid split parallelogram with celluloid parallelogram. So, no actual mother of pearl. Custom Bucker 3, unpotted. Some people don't like those. Is each their own. I've played some I like, some I don't. No wire, aged gold, all sorts of good stuff. And it's basically like forced scarcity, because now with the Gibson Custom Shop model, they know there's at least 88 people out there, so 85, however of these they actually made. I think was it 85? I think it's 85. 1985 is when they made the film, so we'll say 85 of these made. They know it's like a scarcity thing, and a lot of corporations do this because, you know, on the resale market, these things are going to go for ridiculous amounts of money, and they're not going to make any more of them, and it's just going to be super expensive. And the same can be said for the Epiphone one. I can guarantee you they're going to be, you know, being that they're sold out right now. Does it tell us how many they made of these? I am not sure. I feel like they made at least 1,000 of these, maybe. let's see. Does it tell us how many they're making of these? Bigsby. Body specs, 4-ply, layered, neck specs. But as I said, I don't understand. They could have made this a little more expensive and did the Gibson headstock and the Gibson pickups. So looks like we don't get really as much fancy things with this one as you do with the Gibson one. But yeah, very limited edition. They're gone. They're probably not coming back. Nothing you can do about it. Is what it is. It sucks because I would have. I mean, I'm not dishing out 20 grand on a guitar, but this might have been one of the ones where I was like, yeah, why not? Let's grab the old $1,000 Epiphone. Yeah, it says only 88. So actually, it's not specifying in this article how many Epiphone they'll make. So maybe they're gonna make more of these. Maybe they're just out of stock right now. I don't know why they're going... Oh, 88 miles an hour. The DeLorean. That explains it. Epiphone, Back to the Future. Okay, so the Epiphone, there's 1,985 of those. And they're sold out. So they're both gone at this point. I mean, they might make more of them. There might be an additional batch. Because 1,000, you don't think 1,000 guitars is a lot. Well, close to 2,000, but it is. And it takes a while to produce all of them. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were like, all right, let's do the fancy limited edition Gibson one with the Epiphone. Let's, make a couple hundred of the Epiphone and just do it in batches. So not all hopes are lost yet on the Epiphone model. It is a possibility that, they sold out and within the next year or so you'll get them because they're still making them. But who knows? So don't get your hopes up. I don't know what these are going for on the used market. What if we do... Let's see if we can find one. Let's see if we can find one at all in the used market. I can guarantee you someone has one on a Reverb or something. No, I guess not. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. I figured one would have popped up on Reverb by now for double the price. But that is what it is. I think they're really, really cool. It is like a kind of a fake scarcity thing. They could easily make more of these, but they won't. They know their market. They know what they're doing, and they know how to make money doing it. So props to Gibson for that. I'm going to end it there because I'm already over my 10 minutes. So subscribe, notification, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. I'm going to go watch some Back to the Future because I think now I'm in the mood to watch it for like the 500th time. And until next time, have a good one.